I am really excited about this update because I found a wig. It's in this beautiful envelope. I found it on Lumica and it was a miracle, just like the boots. I was just keeping an eye on it, refreshing, and this beautiful wig just appeared on a new listing, and I usually am not an impulsive buyer, but this one just seemed like the perfect match for what I was looking for. I didn't want to leave it to chance to, be bought by somebody else, so I bought it and it's here, and I thought I would open it up on camera. So, this beautiful bag, and this beautiful purple wig. It's really hard to tell because there's a lot of light going on here, and the background is also basically the same color as the wig, but I think in person, sitting right next to it, it looks just like what I thought it would look like, and what I was hoping it would look like. Again, it kind of had the problem that Boots had, where I was like, it could be the right color, they could also not be the right color, but I was banking on that it would be, and it is, and it is beautifully, packaged and taken care of. The person said that they had never worn it before. They bought it for a cosplay and never did the cosplay, which I have been guilty of before. I've sold my own wigs on that website from cosplays that I just never got around to doing. So this is in way better condition than I thought I would find a wig. I thought I would find one. Not that a used wig is an issue. I've gotten used wigs before, but usually the lace is cut, and this lace is still intact, which I'm really happy about because it kind of seems like I might have to add some hair up at the top, which will be fine. I can just grab, this is pretty long, so I can just grab some from the back here. The cap looks amazing. Super excited. It has really nice cones. There's 2 cones, 3 cones, there we go. 1 in the back and 2 in the front, which I use these religiously. It definitely looks like it'll have to be styled. It needs to be brushed and curled. I think her hair is curly. I'm blanking right now because I don't have my reference images in the vicinity right now. Other than that, I think she's beautiful. She's like the perfect color, and again, it looks, I don't know what it looks like on camera. It looks kind of like it does in person, but it looks a little bit more white, which I think are silvery, like that cool purple color. But I couldn't be more excited about this. It is gorgeous, it is beautiful. It needs a little TLC, but other than that, I am really excited to go ahead and try it on. Tell me you're just obsessed with this wig as I am. Oh my goodness. I am so in love with the color, with the style, with the way it fits. It fits perfectly. That's something of a concern sometimes. Some wig caps can run really small. You never really know until you put it on, unless you have the measurements. But I did not have any of that, so I'm really glad that it fits. I didn't bother trimming the lace right now just because I don't really know what I'm going to do style-wise, but I thought just getting it on my head right now would be a really good thing, and I just am just so into it. I love it so much. It's so good. It definitely makes me want to do a makeup test, which, I mean, I was going to do that anyway, but with the wig, I just feel like it'll totally be just the whole package. I'm just super excited, and I'm also low-key really excited to do her little freckles. They're super cute. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm also kind of low-key a little thankful, I guess, that the color match it doesn't totally wash me out, because I'm super pale, if you couldn't tell, and so I was really worried about wearing a lighter colored wig because I thought maybe I would totally just turn into a blank white wall with purple hair, but thankfully that doesn't seem to be the case. But yeah, I'm so in love with this. It goes to about my waist. I'll probably do an outer shot later. But yeah, wow, I just keep playing with it because I'm just so in love with it. It is amazing. I love this so much, and it just confirms that I just want my own hair to look like this, because it's pretty much sits and lays the way my hair lays, but it's purple and I love purple. But yeah, this is incredible. I'm so excited. If I do a makeup test, it'll probably be next or down the line of things to update y'all on. But yeah, I'm super excited. This is amazing. I just can't stop looking at it. It's so pretty. I'm so excited. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
After the fun and excitement of trying the wig on, I took it off and put it on this wig block, and you can see here I'm just perfecting that middle part and getting the hair to lay down really flat onto the lace so that it looks even more natural when I put it back on again. I don't think I will do what I originally thought, which is make like a little halo, like a little ponytail where the bangs meet in the back, because I think that steaming achieved the effect that I wanted it to. This did not achieve the effect I wanted it to, though. I thought I was going to create her curly, wavy with these simple braids and steaming technique where you just steam them, let them sit, and take them out later, and they usually leave a really nice pattern, but this looked too spread out, so I end up just grabbing my curling iron and going ahead and going in and curling sections and then pinning them to the top and to let them cool, because you always want wig fibers to cool, and making sure that my temperature was low, because if you put them too high you are at risk of burning your wig if it is synthetic. Kind of just went at it with this 3-inch barrel, I think it is, and I did a back and forward curl, like alternating back and forth, just to kind of give it that extra wild look, because I didn't want them to curl into each other and like form a cohesive wave. I wanted them to be broken up and swirly like you see here, and I really love the end result. Having picked out a pattern, I ended up printing it out. As you'll see here, it was a very large pattern, so there was lots and lots of pages, and I just did very short clips of doing a handful just to give you an idea of how this process works. You just trim the edges off, and there are little hash marks on the pages to help you line them up to make a little plus sign, and matching the lines obviously of the pattern as well helps. You just tape them all together and eventually you get a pattern, and boy was this pattern huge. It was like literally the size of my rug, and I didn't even print the whole thing out, I just printed the pieces that I needed for this. You see me cutting out the sleeve shape just because the dress shape was so large I didn't even want to try and fit it in frame. As you just saw, this thing is huge, and this is them cut down to the size that I will be making and cutting out of the fabric. Make a small disclaimer here, there are markings on this pattern that you will see that I am not using them because I don't want those on this. Again, I'm just using this to get just a simple idea of the garment that I want to make for her, which is the tunic-y dress. I thought this would give me the right shape, and you will see eventually after I pin and cut this that I'll sew them together and give you a rough idea of what that's going to look like. Just jumping back in here to say that I did alter the sleeve pattern. I almost forgot until I just saw this. I added some length on the bottom just because in the sewing pattern pictures the sleeve reaches the elbow. Imogen's also kind of reaches the elbow. I just wanted to make sure that it was long enough because I think originally I thought it was going to be like a rolled up sleeve, but here you can see me pinning this cuff down too, just in case I decide to kind of trim it or even just leave it as it is and add the cuff and still roll it. I'm not entirely sure what I want the sleeves to look like just yet, but I'm going ahead and cutting them out anyway. Naturally, the next step after cutting your fabric out is to start sewing it and putting it together. You will see me try this on for the first time. This is a very trust the process update, not only with the wig, but this assembly here. I think I will do a double layer. I wasn't sure if I was going to do that in the beginning. I kind of really wanted to stick with the very sheer aspect of this fabric, but I was layering it underneath what you end up seeing in a few minutes, and you really don't lose that sheerness. So I think that's something I'll do, which will also help me with finishing the edges and making it just look a little bit more put together, and it'll just look nicer, cleaner. As well as, again, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the sleeves, so those won't be attached when you see the try on. A lot of alterations to come. I cut it a little bit bigger than what I actually, like the size I actually am, but I would rather make things bigger and alter them to fit better than to make them too small, because that's just a nightmare. And you'll see right here, this shoulder fits really well, but the other one is kind of lopsided, and I think that's because there technically should be a dart in the back, and I didn't add that, so I just have to adjust for the gap that is made. Here I'll show you, I showed you the sleeves just to show you how those will fit, and again I added that extra length to them so that they will meet the length that I want them to meet when they are finished. I thought the next best thing would be to finish something, like the gloves. And this comes with a disclaimer for your safety. Applying heat to EVA foam is super toxic and dangerous, and I didn't show it here, but I am wearing a mask and I am standing in my garage, which is a well-ventilated area. So please, 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 just do this safely if you're doing this. With safety taken care of, I start to move on to heat up my foam, which you can tell that it's doing that when it starts to flatten and become malleable. Then I apply even pressure with tinfoil to create little dents in the foam, which sadly you can't even end up seeing in these clips, but trust me, they're there. This technique has been used by many a cosplayer, and I just really loved the effect that it gives. You won't see it really until the paint gets put on, but I just really enjoyed doing this. It was really fun. Is priming my foam before I get to paint it. Technically, heat sealing your foam does the same sort of thing, but I just really wanted a nice base to be able to paint on. I know, again, white on white, you can't see anything, but I promise it's there. And I've heard really good things about this series of paint that Plaid came out with. Apparently it's really good for your foam because it keeps your paint flexible and prevents creases, which this will be around my wrist, and I will be moving it on and off a lot, so I hope that it will achieve a smooth, even surface for this lovely burnt umber brown to go over. Here it comes on very light in the beginning, but I add a couple of layers to get it dark, just like the leather glove it's going to go on. I also intend to add some weathering to it, some fill in those little gaps that you can't see from here. After about 3 coats of paint, I take these to my sewing machine with my glove, where I'm going to start finishing off some edges to make them nicer. I make sure that these fit lengthwise around the cuff of the glove. One of the great things about foam is that you can also sew it. It's literally so versatile. I love it so much. So I will intend to sew that up in this seam you see me finagling with here. But first there's a couple pieces of leather I have to put back on the glove so that it all looks really nice and finished when I'm done. Originally, I was gonna finish all the seams of this on the sewing machine, but I ended up realizing very quickly that it did not fit over the machine. So in the next clip, after I've done all of this up, you will see some of the hand stitching I did to just finish off the edges of the thumb hole and the pinky hole, just to make them look a lot nicer and cleaner. After my bit of hand sewing, I realized I need closures on my little straps here, and I found some Velcro laying about. So here I am measuring them and cutting them to fit the bands themselves. And then it's a pretty simple but effective step. I go ahead and grab my paint and paint them the same brown as the straps, just so it's not like, oh wow, there's obviously a piece of Velcro. I think it's a very simple but very effective technique of making things look very seamless and blended. And just like with every good update, we will finish it off with a review and checklist crossing off. Here's my first checklist, and I cross it off pretty much the entire thing. One of those things being finding shoelaces, and I did do that. You don't see it here just because the shoelaces have not arrived. They have been shipped, but they have not arrived. And then I cross off my wig on my big list. and then go ahead and start making another small list for myself to do, just to break things down and make it a little bit more simpler. The first thing being to finish the blue top, to figure out what I want to do there, work on making the knife holster for my thigh, finish the harness / belt, and then the final thing is to just make the little pouch on her hip. That's the progress so far. I hope you keep up to date with what comes next.